Hi there, I'm Mark Teacher and welcome to another weekend worksheet. This weekend we're talking about your memories. We're going to look at 3 different ways you can talk about your memories in IELTS speaking, especially IELTS speaking part 1, because there are lots of IELTS speaking part 1 questions about when you were young, when you were a kid, when you were at school, and so on. Many students ask me what's the difference between the past simple, I used to, and I would. So I've created a table which explains the rules. First, the past simple. The past simple is used to describe past actions, behavior, and states. You can describe past behavior like I ate, I played tennis, I swam for a swimming team, and you can describe past states such as I was a teacher for many years, or I worked in IT for a long time. In my examples, I was using a length of time or a specific time in the past. For example, 5 years ago. I swam for the swimming team 5 years ago. I worked in IT in 2019. Specific times or lengths of time should be used with the past simple. Used to also describes past actions, but repeated actions or past habits. It can describe behavior and states as well. So, I used to play tennis for a club, and I used to work in IT is also correct. The difference between used to and the past simple is that used to emphasizes old behavior. I used to means I did, but now I don't. So it emphasizes past states or things you stopped doing. Maybe you used to play your Xbox 360 when you were younger. Now, obviously, you don't. Maybe you play a more updated console. Finally, I would. I would does not describe any states. So you can't say, I would be a teacher, or I would work in IT for many years. It only describes past actions, and the emphasis is on frequent actions and things you did a lot. For example, I would always do my homework in my living room. My family would usually eat dinner at the kitchen table with no phones. We also use would to describe details of specific actions and verbs. So, now you know a bit more about the rules. Let's do a quick exercise. There are 4 sentences, which are sentences about my past and my memories. Choose the correct verb. Number 1. I went, used to, would to Egypt in 2014. Here you can see a specific time, 2014. So, clearly, we should use the past simple. In this case, I went to Egypt in 2014. So specific time in the past, past simple. Number 2, I was, I used to, I would be quite a short person. We have the verb be. So this gives us a state. Also, there is no specific time with this sentence. So we should say used to. There's no specific time, and it's a state. Number 3. I worked, I used to, I would, as a software engineer for 7 years. In this case, we have a length of time, a specific length of time in the past. This means we should use the past simple, which is I worked as a software engineer for 7 years. Number 4. My sister and I were, used to, or would fight over the computer all the time. At the end of the sentence, we have all the time. All the time means very often. If you watched video 3 or weekend worksheet 3, we looked at this frequency phrase. And because it's high frequency and it's often, we'll use would. Would fight is also quite a specific action. So would is the preferred choice here. So let's look at these in full IELTS answers. Let's put it in IELTS context. Here is an IELTS Speaking Part 1 question. What did you do during winter time growing up? Well, it snows a lot in Russia every winter, so most of the time we indoors. So, the verb I want is stay. Should I use stayed, the past simple? I used to stay, or we used to stay, or we would stay indoors. Most of the time. So we know this is repeated, frequent, therefore it's between would or used to. I think stay is a specific action. So we would stay. We would stay indoors where it was warm and cozy. Cozy means comfortable. A comfortable place, especially when it's cold outside. When I was a student, though, during the Christmas break from school, we visited, the past simple. We used to visit, or we would visit. So, we used to visit. Why is it used to visit? This is because, again, we have a thing we did before but don't do now. So when I was a student, we used to. Now we don't. Maybe I live in a different city from my parents. Maybe I am not a student anymore. I have left school, so that has stopped, and that is now an old past habit or behavior. So we used to visit a nearby ski resort and went skiing, used to go skiing, or we would go skiing in the mountains there for a few days. If you look at the end of the sentence, we've got a specific length of time. So, we went skiing in the mountains there for a few days. Okay, let's do one more question. What TV shows did you like as a child? I love. Is it loved? I used to love? Or I would love? I would say I loved. This is because I have given a specific time in the past, and it's the 90s. I've given you a specific time period in which these shows were televised. This also implies that I don't love them now. I loved them. When I watch them as adults, they're a little bit cheesy, the video quality isn't great, and I think I'm more difficult to entertain nowadays. So I loved in the past. I loved the 90s Saturday night game shows. My whole family tuned in, would tune in, or used to tune in. If you look ahead, you can see every Saturday evening. That's a frequent action. If it's a frequent action, my family would tune in. Tune in is also quite a specific thing to do. You tune in to a television channel. You tune in to a certain TV show at a certain time. Therefore, we would tune in. My whole family would tune in at 6 or 7 every Saturday evening and watch them until late in the evening. I was also a big fan of cartoons like Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z, so I woke up early, I used to wake up early, or I would wake up early. So, I think you have two options here. I think you could say, I would wake up early. Again, this is a specific action, and before I went to school. Most students go to school 5 days a week, so that's quite frequent. However, I would understand if you said, I used to wake up, because now I'm not a student. So that is an old habit, and that has changed. Also, these TV shows are not on television anymore. So you could argue that something stopped, and I don't do it anymore. Often there is a bit of flexibility, and native speakers and an IELTS examiner will understand if you use would or used to. So there you go. Here's the table of rules again, and here are some questions about your memories that you might get in an IELTS Speaking Part 1 exam. Try to answer these questions using the phrases and vocabulary and grammar in the table. You can write your answers in the comments below, and I will give you some feedback when I see them. If you want more practice with this particular topic, I have a full worksheet available. I think it's 9 pages available on my TPT store. If you have any questions about my answers, the sentences in the video, or about IELTS and English in general, leave a comment below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss the next weekend's worksheet on a new topic. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again soon.